to share. Learn the way to market, put your business up there. Tune in every day, digital marketing, yeah, yeah, we know the way. Come learn and slay.
All right, happy Wednesday. Welcome back, Digital Marketing NetWurk. We got Jennifer J, Mickey Black in the house. We're on Wednesday, and we're talking about CRM today. And we've got a couple of tips, and hacks, and all those sort of strategies around making sure your CRM is the most effective tool. I know a lot of times we'll talk about the AI and we'll talk about automation. Today, we're leaving the tech behind and really just talking about best practice with CRM, specifically email. And we've got a couple of tips. But I know, Jen, CRM is a big thing in terms of emails. That's probably like one of your biggest channels that you communicate with your clients. Is that like, what percentage of the marketing mix would you say CRM is if you took into account social, other web tactics and CRM? What percentage is CRM in terms of importance?
I would say it's going to be 70% because your CRM, which is your customer relationship management, is the hub of where everything comes into, right? So if you look at it as you have all these things coming into this one hub, think of it as like a bus depot. Buses go out here, buses go out there, but they all come into the hub, and the hub is where all the information is, right? And so the CRM part is where all the information is. And it allows you to be able to navigate based on what's inside of that CRM.
I like that picture. So that super is very well put. And I like that picture of the hub because the CRM and as you say, the customer relationship management platform is where all the things in terms of communication intersect, right? So from customer service to sales to whatever promotions you have, they're all coming through that centralized record, but that hub is a really good way to put it. And I know we were talking before, and we got a couple of interesting best practices that we wanted to make sure people keep in mind. And I know we've got 5, so everybody likes the number 5. What's your top 5? So today we got a couple of we got 5 tips on how to make your CRM effective. First was define the user journey. And I think you kind of talked about it when you were saying hub and all these things come through there. But what do you see as the most important thing around the user journey and how people experience your brand through your CRM?
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing I would say is understanding how people are coming into the hub. How are people contacting you? Where are they coming from? How are they contacting you, right? Then how are you managing that contact? So we're talking about email. Are you segmenting them as they're coming in? Are you segmenting them based off of where they're coming in and what they're interested in? Then now you're able to send them email content that's relative to what they want to hear as opposed to what you think they want to hear, right? Because we just look at our business, for instance. We have business owners that are at different levels. So if you're at the lead generation stage and you're still trying to figure out, well, how do I drive all this traffic back to my CRM? Then you don't want to know, you're not ready for sales conversations, right? You still need to drive traffic. But if you're there, like my webinar says, got sales now what? Okay, you have too much traffic coming in and you have a leak. So now you need to figure out, okay, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So making sure that we are meeting the users where they are and giving them what they need.
That is a good point. I think that that's a lot. That reminds me of the importance of segmentation. And so when you're talking about understanding where they are, and I like how you brought in the webinar series, Got Sales Now What? And it takes us to this next point where documenting the sales process and understanding the operating procedures will enable you to understand what touch points you need to program into your CRM. And sometimes it's not just external. Sometimes, like, people do new employee onboarding through a CRM sequence. People will do different things in the operations team, whether it be reporting to their internal finance departments through the automated CRM strategies. What have you seen be popular in terms of integrating the CRM into the sales cycle for some brands?
Yeah, so just the importance of number one, understanding your sales cycle. But what I've seen is being able to automate that follow up.
Automate
Being
that follow
Yeah,
up.
automate that follow up. I think that's the most important part of the sales process is automating the follow up and just making sure people know what happens next.
Now, I like that, and it's super timely because, as you know, I'm part of the morning meetup, the group, and we were actually talking about DISC assessment tests, the personality assessment tests. And so there's a piece in there where they rank empathy, and so sometimes they were talking about people that were high empathy, that they have a tough time making the sale because they can see how uncomfortable sometimes people are when they're about to make the sale. I happen to be low empathy, and I happen to be a super aggressive salesperson. Then I just go in for the sale. I don't care. But what you point out, the whole automated follow-up, is a good tactic for somebody who has trouble going in for the sale, because you can automate the offer after, whether it be the workshop, after the one-on-one consultation you have. And so it takes that out of your hand, and you can just automate that offer. You can even send them an invoice or, like a quote. But I like that automation piece and how it integrates to kind of create an effective sales tactic.
Mhm.
That is
Yes,
super cool.
I put automate the offer because I like that.
Automate the offer. I love it. I love it. That's a good one. That's what they would call that, a gem. That's all
Yes.
right. Next one we're talking about is maintaining a 10,000-foot view. And I know that's a big corporate thing. What's the 10,000-foot view? What's the big view? But really keeping in perspective your analytics, looking at the dashboard, even if you don't want to, even because I know people are like, oh, nobody's opening my email. So, if you don't look at it, maybe you're not seeing the truth. But you got to really keep an eye on the numbers. The numbers tell the story. What has been the most effective insight or learning that you've gotten from data in terms of, like, looking at reports and stuff?
Yeah, it just definitely lets me know. So I give you a prime example. If you look at your rates, right? Where does your audience, what do they prefer? How do they prefer to receive information from you? Right? Most of my audience don't like text messages. So I preserve text messages for maybe that first initial conversation or first initial interaction, and then everything else is email, right? And so now you're looking at your email open rates. Are they opening these things? And then this is where you have to make decisions. Okay, I put out this campaign, they opened it but they didn't click, or they opened it and they clicked but they didn't buy. So that gives you that 10,000-foot view, because it tells you they opened the email, subject line, good. They clicked, information in the email, maybe good. They didn't buy. Something is wrong with the page, right? So that's how you're able to analyze where the problem is. If they open the email and they don't click, then something is wrong with the messaging in the email, and it's a constant revolution of making changes, putting it back out there, making changes, putting it back out there. It's not just, okay, I'm just send these emails and go. You have to look at the data to see how those things are performing so you know what changes to make.
I like that. And I like it because I was previously thinking in a very binary term, like
Mhm.
either you're sending out emails and they're doing good or they're not. But I like the way you broke it down in terms of looking at the different touch points to measure the success of the element. So your subject line, if they're actually opening it, you don't have to go back and rethink it. You can say, oh, that's a good subject line. If they're
Mhm.
clicking through, you don't have to reword the body of the email. You know that's working. So you have indicators of what parts of the tactic are working as you measure the different success metrics. So I like that one for that reason. And this next one is the three R's. So I came up with this three R's of CRM, meaning whatever you're sending out to your clients should be one of these three things: resources, rewards, or results. So, resources, information that can help them. Rewards, everybody likes the client or consumer rewards, like loyalty programs and such. And the results, like like for instance, Spotify will send you a result of like, hey, this is your listening behavior. These are the things you like. These are things based on your algorithm that are new or whatever. So I think those three things. What do you think of those three R's?
No, I think they're absolutely perfect because you always want to give value no matter what. You want to give value, even though maybe what your product or service you identify is that's the value. But does your audience perceive that? It's what your audience perceives as value, right? And so you want to make sure that you're following these three R's, right? And so I think if you follow these three R's, you will eventually get the success you're looking for.
Yeah. And you'll always make sure that your content is relevant. You're giving people things that
Mhm.
are related to where they are. So I like that. I like that. Last one is super simple, but people overlook it all the time. Is just keep it clean. Meaning, make sure your database is clean. Make sure there's no duplicates. Make sure your contacts are up to date. Make sure all the records are what they're supposed to be in the correct fields and all that stuff. Sometimes you have to really kind of go in there and make sure your records are up to date. Because say sometimes, let's say for instance, if the user put in their last name in the first name box, and so
Mhm.
you're sending out emails that say, hi Davidson versus hi Robert or whatever it's supposed to
Mhm.
say, and
Mhm.
they're obviously going to be like, this is obviously like a template or whatever. So just making sure your fields are aligned and all that other good stuff. What do you think of that, Jen? Do you spend a lot of time on maintaining the records?
So I let the automation do it, right? But it won't do it to that point. Also, what I've learned by doing, right, is that people's emails become invalid. Go figure,
Yeah.
right? So I sent out a campaign and I got a ding message from high level. I was appalled because I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? And when I went back and looked at the data, I'm like, wait a minute. They were just getting emails. So again, this is being able to look back on what you've already done. And I'm like, they were getting emails, they were opening them. And so what happened? But you're getting dinged for it because you have these people on your list. And so unfortunately, it's I don't want to, but now I have to delete this person off my list because you're gonna get me in trouble. Right.
Gotcha. So
So
what they sent
yeah.
a notification for a high number of invalid addresses?
Yes. Yes. And so that leads me to the turning on the email verification, right? And having the email verification verify your emails before it sends the campaigns out, so that you
Gotcha.
make sure that you stay compliant and you don't get on the naughty email list of non-compliancy, right? And so the best way to be able to do that is like I have it where if that email bounces or fails, the system automatically puts it
Takes
into
it
do
out.
not disturb. Yeah. Now high level has where you could delete a contact. I haven't turned that on yet. That's a little extreme for me. I'm like, oh, it's like, why you holding on to me? But you can do that. You can turn them on. You can turn that on. Let the automation do it, and it will delete them right out your system, and you don't have to worry about it. Uh oh, you there,
Am I
Mickey?
back? I'm
Okay,
here. Okay.
okay.
So yeah, so where we left off with talking about letting the automation keep it clean, and I didn't even think about that. That's a really good way to make sure that it's just happening consistently,
Mhm.
and just doing it. Yeah, it almost takes it out of your hands. It just automatically does it.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool. I noticed High Level had it, but I haven't turned it on. So maybe I might turn it on for the next time.
Yeah, are you talking about the email verification or deleting the contact?
Well, I've got the email verification, but I've not turned on the deleting the contact.
Yeah, it just seems so extreme, right? It's like, no, I don't want to delete them. Maybe something happened. Maybe their email inbox got full or the service provider did something, right? So,
Yeah,
but it's there for those of
it's
you who
there.
don't.
It's there.
That's my this much of empathy, because my empathy is low too. But that's my this much of empathy. Like, no.
Awesome. Well, I think that was a lot. That was an awesome set of tips, tricks, hacks, whatever you want to call them. But I think that was a pretty good one. Anything else before we head out?
Yes, you as the business owner control the destiny and the success or failure of your business. So go automate and generate leads.
Awesome. Awesome. And one more time, I'm going to show it before we leave. If you want to catch up with Jen, text systems to 470-517-7006. Until next time, we will be back tomorrow with another episode. It'll be a rerun, but we will be here and we will see you then. Cheers.